All right, guys, we are live on the Independent Investor channel. It is Friday, 9 o'clock for the fastest 60 minutes on YouTube. What do we talk about tonight? This was an interesting week in the stock market, no doubt about it. I'll have you know right up front at the top of the live stream, I was a spectator this week. No, I did not buy Gamestop. I don't play that way. I don't look at the stock market as an arena to play. However, I fall squarely on the side of the retail investor. There's no doubt about it. For you guys that have been loyalists to the channel, know that I've made a few comments through the life of the channel, which is now going on 4 years. I am one of the original YouTube financial channels out there. Absolutely. I'm quick to say that I also don't do YouTube full time. I don't. I'm just a regular fella. Do I advocate for the retail investor? Absolutely. This has been my thing for a long, long time. So it's nice to see in a jarring fashion some vindication. Where this thing ends, I don't know. I'm not going to come on and speculate where it ends. It's intriguing to follow the exploitation of such a vulnerability on the hedge fund side of the house with a short interest in a stock at 140% is pretty amazing. And it just so happened that the hedge funds were standing on a landmine and didn't realize it. And there was a group of savvy investors, nothing short of, nothing short of. Some fantastic content released this week. For those of you who follow me on social media, know that I did share that. Unfortunately, it did have a trademark pullback on it. I think that's just a load of freaking malarkey. Just another way of controlling the dialogue. I thought Chamath Palihapitiya actually did a fantastic interview, the entire interview. If you can find it online or somebody just so happened to record that or get it, that's golden material. There's some light, some glaring lights shined in the corners of some of the hedge fund institutions, and there's some real truth telling. Chamath was asked if he advocates for the retail investor. It sounds like you're coming on to be a spokesman for regular people. And I was hoping he'd say, hell yeah, I am. It's about freaking time. And it was quick to bring up, there was people that were really, really hurt 10 years ago through the financial crisis and the mortgage-backed security. If you guys don't know, catch The Big Short. It explains the entire thing. But, what was going on there at Lehman Brothers was a pretty tough situation. There was a lot of really, really good families, hardworking families out there that really took a drawdown on retirement accounts. Some even worse. Some lost everything. Some lost their homes. Some lost both. And there's those individuals directly and descendants of those, mothers, fathers, households that were directly affected on the bottom line that still remember that. All right. And they don't forget. They don't forget. So I'll take this opportunity and welcome everybody. And in true independent investor channel fashion, I'd like to devote this intro to all the hedge funds that followed into the GameStop short. Oh, what a beautiful thing. Obviously, so busy paying attention to the GameStop situation, how it evolved this week. Really didn't care so much that the portfolio took an interesting little drawback. It did retract a touch this week. No big deal. For you guys that are new to the Independent Investor channel, you guys can appreciate the fact that I am a real person. Working on about a $500,000 net worth. I want to speak about wealth building as if it's a little bit more commonplace. Okay. I think people unfortunately get sidetracked and they think that this GameStop debacle, because it is getting such headlines. I mean, hell, it was on the front of the Wall Street Journal. But I think for the most part, regular people out there are somewhat disconnected from things like this. Why? Because they're busy working. I mean, I was raised in a working class household, no doubt about it. My mother and father, they raised me on love. Okay. We didn't need money to make us happy. Now they've carved out a life of riches for themselves. No doubt about it. That's far beyond money. Stuff like this doesn't make any sense. And it doesn't really make sense for a lot of common folk out there that are just looking to live a normal life, right? Do what it is that makes them happy. So, mom and dad, if you're out there and you're checking in on, it was super cool to get to engage with your colleague tonight. It was a concerned colleague of my mother's, who was feeling the heat a little bit on a very, very well hard-earned retirement. And it was like, what gives, Ryan? What's going on right now? Should I be concerned? And I would like to say this. I would really like to separate what has gone on with the GameStop situation with what I always come back to, and that's fundamental wealth building in the stock market. I have been so steadfast on my program for many, many years. I just look at this stuff and I laugh. Did you get into GameStop, Ryan? No. Did you think about getting into it? No. No. It's not in line with my program. Had I got into GameStop and got a little lucky boost, okay, great. What does that mean for you? Does it give me the credibility to come onto a social media platform and say, "Look at me, I just made 100 grand off of GameStop"? That means that I'm a good investor. Somehow qualifies my strategy of getting lucky with a potential stock. The GameStop issue this week meant more to me than anything because for many, many years, the underlying root of the independent investor channel has been to empower one investor at a time. For people who have been with me over the years, they start to understand what that means. And it's not necessarily a come to Ryan's channel and I say and you do. It's, hey, this guy's kind of taking a little bit of a different angle. This guy, what it seems like he does is pretty commonplace, and it is. There's nothing special about what I do. Nothing. Not a thing. Anybody can invest in Apple stock. What makes me special from the masses or traditional lines of seeking exposure to the stock market have everything to do with cutting out the middleman. I'll say it again, cutting out the middleman. Cut him out. Okay. The very stock market that I enjoy, that is, yes, heavily regulated, even though this week has really shined a kind of a dark spot on the stock market. For the most part, the majority of my assets are held in domestic markets. Why? Because they are heavily regulated, guys. We do have a system and structure in place. All right. The SEC is in place. Okay. They do enforce regulations. Okay. The very marketplace that we do enjoy does provide that marketplace opportunity. Now, where does the self-directed investor fit into that? The self-directed investor all the time has the power on their side. It's just how we go about seeking that exposure to the market. In other words, I feel like a lot of investors out there, they'll come to terms with the 401k that they have, and that's good enough. Okay. They get complacent. Okay. The hedge funds got complacent this week, and look what happened to them. I think if you remain hungry on your application, you can really start to justify, look, the stock market is what it is. It's how you go about seeking your exposure to the market that is going to make all the difference. Put the aspect of tax protection on top of that. Put good quality assets inside of your portfolio, and you can start to resonate with this idea, like the masses are, that you, in fact, can seek out personal wealth for yourself. And you don't necessarily have to jump on and catch that shooting star like a GameStop. That's not necessary, guys. It's not. And once we start to really realize that there's companies out there like 3M, for me, that have done really quite well, companies out there that are starting to catch a little bit of steam that I'm excited about on the value side of the house, that wealth building isn't this complicated isn't this complicated landscape. Okay. It's not some scientific formula that you need to figure out. It's a discipline and it's a perspective. It's about not paying so much attention to the stock market and paying attention to those things that are actually more important in life. Okay. Security, family, job, discipline, health and well-being, dietary habits. Okay. These are the things that are going to give us that quality of life over the course of our life. The stock market can really dole out a lot of temptation. And I think a lot of people are really being drawn to the market now, this week, for a lot of the wrong reasons. So, guys, we'll get into the Q&A. We'll do the portfolio reviews this week. Obviously, we'll go ahead and disclose the retractions to you guys. This is what Chamath Palihapitiya was talking about in the interview. I've been transparent on my channel for a long, long time. I give out portfolio reviews on the channel openly, as a lot of the other channel creators as well, they do. That takes courage, okay? Because if we come on and we deploy the strategy that we do and we share that with an open audience, and the strategy doesn't so happen to work out, right? If some of the strategies that you guys know that I deploy don't work out, all right, this is about as transparent as you can possibly get, made possible through the power of social media. This is why the Reddit thread and Wall Street Bets was so powerful, because there's just a little inkling of what Cathie Wood is doing with her transparency on the ETF that she offers. To kind of expose what's not going on for the most part on the hedge fund side of the house. And we come in here, guys, there's devoted folks that I don't think would miss this live stream. And that's not a compliment to myself. It's a compliment to the mission. It's a compliment to people who feel like they have ownership over a particular movement, right? So if there is one small piece of validation on my particular channel, it's that. Because like I've said, if I just came onto YouTube and talked about money and finances, I wouldn't do the Independent Investor channel. That's the God's honest truth. There's 1,000 other channels out there talking about money and stock market. I don't need to buy into that. Where I feel like we create somewhat of a healthy environment, and I'm just the guy to facilitate that, is to make sure that everybody understands and feel like they have a piece in this gig. The empowerment piece is such that you're like, man, I can do this freaking thing too. And you actually put a program in place and you start to see results. All right. My brother just told me tonight, he's like, Ryan, thank you so much, man. I'm up 20% in my portfolio. I'm like, hell, get used to it. I mean, what do you want me to say? You want me to say you're an anomaly? No. I want success to be commonplace. And that's exactly what we look to exploit here on the Independent Investor channel, man, is to foot stomp success. It just so happened to be that we kind of stuck it to the man this week, no doubt about it. So stick around, guys. We're going to have a great show. Fast to 60 minutes on YouTube. Stick around. JMac Investing. I don't know if this makes us iMac here, Jason. I'm not really sure. Got to come up with something tricky. I don't know. Just a couple. Nice hat, by the way.
Appreciate
it. Mine? Where's mine?
Didn't get many hats.
You got to tell Thomas I'm an honorary shareholder in the company. I ain't even got a hat yet.
Right. Yeah. Need some more swag.
For real. Perspectives on this week, Jay.
Yeah, it was wild. I mean, I heard you talking for a few minutes there about it. Yeah, I mean, took me a little while to kind of to catch on to what was really going on, and once I did, I opened up like a channel in a dedicated channel on my Discord so folks could get involved in it and so being a supporter of it. And I was trading some too. Making some money on it, you know what I mean? And I did buy about one share of Game to be part of the resistance. So I own one share that I'm holding. It don't matter if it goes to zero. You know what I mean?
Don't even matter. Yeah, I think there's more to this. There's definitely a cause behind it. It's really nice to see. It really is. I hate to get sappy, and I've never really looked at the market on this. And I look at it with this lens, with this particular situation. I really do put this in a box because, you know, the stock market that I invest in, it's with some confidence to know that it is a very heavily regulated market here in the US. If you'd like to take your chances abroad, go ahead and do that. Okay. The US is still the best place to invest. There's foreign money flowing into this market every single day because people want a piece of America. But I think this is kind of a subcurrent where these guys on Reddit, man, and I think it's a shift in perception as well. I do, because I think the perception of dumb money will probably dissolve away. Hopefully, like we don't have any business dabbling in this arena. This week proved otherwise.
No doubt.
So what was your entry on GameStop? Do you mind? So you don't care if it goes to zero? It ain't going to zero. What's going to end up happening is people are going to start going to GameStops, the physical location. Now there's an advocacy for you. Go into
Yeah.
GameStop and find something that you can help support the business. There is somewhat of a following behind GameStop, There for a while when it came out, it was the place to go. It was awesome. Just recently, within the last 6 months, I went to a GameStop, tried to find some games for my kid for the Switch.
Yeah.
Is unfortunately there's a paradigm shift in the industry where you could get your gaming online and just download it, right? And I don't know if they did as well as they needed to keep up with the times. So, not to make excuses for, how GameStop was as a company, it was in some trouble, right? And what people don't really understand is like, okay, was putting on the short a smart investment? Yeah, at the time it was, but to the contrary, the group in the Wall Street Bets that put on the buying frenzy, that was equally as identified as a technical earmark of how big that short was, and they exploited it. That's what happened. No.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, they're just doing what is typically done by hedge funds already. But to answer your question, no, so what happened was I traded AMC the first day, and like I said, I traded it and I didn't really know what was going on. I just knew it was going parabolic. So I made
Yeah.
$3,400 that on day one on that. Then
Okay.
I traded Nokia. I made about $700 on Nokia, and
All
then
right.
then once I began to really get into what was going on, I traded AMC one more time. I made 500, 500. So I bought one share from that profit. I brought the
Yeah.
one share. It was still at like 300. So I got a cost basis of 300 on the game. But I don't care because I made about 5 grand or 4,500 this week on
Yeah.
AMC and Nokia. So that way, I got skin in the game, and I can say yes, I'm holding a share of game, and I'm not going to sell it. So that's how I justified. Also, and so I think, like I said, maybe if I was more in tune in the beginning, I may have just gotten into game and played game a little more, but I wasn't sure in the beginning what it was all about.
I wasn't either. It was too late by the time I was just indisposed at the time, poor timing. If it would have been a little bit more aligned with the timing, I could have been a little bit more aggressive, and I would have. I know me. I have no problem pulling the trigger on an opportunity. No problem. I don't. It's I would have done it, but the timing was poor. So, and then I have enough discipline to look at it and say, yeah, not so much, and then when brokers are starting to control your trades, I don't know how much of that was margin calling. I don't know. I don't want to speculate, but if the speculation is true that some of these brokers were liquidating positions that were not on margin, that's crazy.
Yeah, no, I mean I've heard there's a lot of conspiracies as throwing out there. So I don't know what's true. I mean, I know if you watch what's his name, Hyperchange. I don't know if you ever seen his channel, but he's pretty decent channel, and he talked about how the basically a hedge fund basically owns Robinhood. How so they're
Ooh.
a clearinghouse for Robinhood. So basically, Robinhood, how you get commission free is because they don't really execute your orders on market orders. They
Nope.
execute it with a little bit of cushion.
Batch ordering. That's right.
Right.
Yeah,
And,
yeah, and there's some of the highest batch orders, Jay, in the industry. If you compare it to the majors, who are subject to audit scrutiny, not the way the retail investors are. Um, uh, what goes on behind the scenes is enough to not. I'm trying to pick my words carefully
right.
because me, I come out on the independent investor channel and I say, hey, I'm not really down on Robinhood. It's just my opinion. I've got people in the group here that use it and they like it for its simplicity. It maybe adds a strategic angle, whatever. That's all great and plenty. I just gave my opinion and people didn't like it. Um, and now all of a sudden it's like, hey, it's okay to hate the company. And it's like, all right, whatever, to each his own. I just think people, kind of get complacent on things like that, and they don't really ask the hard questions. I mean, if you knew what was going on behind the scenes, and I shared the article on that dynamic with Robinhood, that would be justification enough to move away from the platform. That's all. And I think you had a really good video this week. Really good. I caught it. I didn't have time to comment. Actually, I was catching it on the fly, and I thought it was really, really good. Well done. Well done. Um, I hate to do that because Robinhood, if I was going to give some small piece of credit, was part of the disruptor class, right?
Right.
For
Yep.
free trading, all of the, step in the right direction to level the playing field. And I think the perception was such that they were kind of the advocate for the little guy,
Yep.
and they may
Yep.
have just ruined that reputation. I don't know.
Well, and the thing is, I think they ruined a whole lot of future opportunity because they were, eventually looking to IPO and or come, maybe via a SPAC. So that
Yeah.
crowd that sits there and waits to to buy up IPOs and SPACs is this very very crowd right here. So they really did kind of shoot themselves in the foot. You know what I mean? Because
Uh,
they were looking to IPO this year. So I really they're gonna have to rethink that. I think.
I think it's really rough. And again, want to be constructively critical. I've I've always been a proponent of, yes, being scrutinizing of your broker, but not over scrutinizing or not over emphasizing the importance of a broker. Because just like Robinhood, like my Merrill or your Fidelity, Jay, is going to provide you direct conduit to the market, right? And that's all great and plenty. And then you strip that away and say, okay, well, it gives me access. Now, what are the bells and whistles? What are the aesthetics of the platform that I really resonate with? And that right there is the real driver for me. And then the final piece to it, which is where I think Robinhood is somewhat compromised, is the reputation. And when you start messing with people's money, you mess with my money, you're going to drop your loyalty. That's it.
Right.
It's over.
I mean, and the very crowd that was heavily involved in this sort of movement, this resistance, is on that platform. A lot of them, and like you said, yeah. So they definitely, for sure. Like, Fidelity. I was able to trade all day long, and even some of the other platforms. I'm on a small platform called Mumu. Many people never heard of it, but it's a
I have.
small app, and yeah.
Yeah.
They never took down Game or AMC or BlackBerry. None of them. So that was what I was trading. I was
Interesting.
actually trading on Mumu because one day I woke up at 4 a.m. and the first day it started, and I saw that yes, this thing's taking off again. That's how I got that. The big run up was I bought real early pre market AMC, and that day it went up like 200%.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one. Take the missus out to dinner, man, with some of them profits.
She came around and I showed her the screen. I said, "You see this, right?" But what it was that at the same time that day, they kind of threw the market in turmoil and all the
It did.
SPACs sold off that day.
Yeah.
So it was kind of an offset day for me. You know what I mean? But
Might have been what had my attention, to be honest with you. And maybe I was the subject of my own discipline. I don't know, Jason. At 43, we're the same age, and to each his own for the application. You take a little swing and make a little dab of extra money. I was off of it that day because I think I was preconceived with watching some of my my speculative plays because I was I was indisposed with getting called off of some of my options in Hyliion. Hyliion really hurt me this week with some options. I said last week on the live stream, I said, yeah, it's probably not a good idea. I went against my better judgment, and boom, right there, ran me right up through my strikes. And I was like, ah, God, I really don't want to lose this position, because I think anything pre-20 is a great entry. I think it's going to be a reflection period of like, wow, that was the opportunity. And that's my bull. I think I'm going to enjoy being an investor in the company, but any speculation on these moves throughout this week would have absolutely been short-term trading candidates.
Yeah.
You get in, and I know you're holding on to the one share, but I'm kind of surprised what's holding the stock up. The stock was up another $156, I think, today. So,
No, I mean it's it's there. I think the plan is you have that. Well, what the coordinated strategy is that you need to hold at least through I think Tuesday for the
I
full
see.
short squeeze to play out like they want it to. Um, so so that's why it should be through the weekend. I mean
Yeah.
and there are going to be, to your point, like that's why I only picked up one share because I had made profits, and it's more of a it's one of those things where you could say you were a part of it during if this thing really does wind up turning into where because there, I don't know if you saw this, but there was one research firm that I kind of I have learned to get used to uh, these short report companies now. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the EV companies have gotten shorted, at some point or
Yeah.
another by some of these
Yeah.
research firms, they call them actually.
Oh, yeah.
So one of them,
Hyliion's at 20% still.
yeah, it got hit one time but it was a very weak report and it didn't really even affect the price. But just about every other one I've held, I've gotten hit with them. So I've learned to
Yeah.
know who the players are, right? Well, one of them yesterday or today, they announced it yesterday, like they normally do. They usually will come out and say tomorrow morning we're dropping a report, right? And so everyone's like, who's going to be? Who's going to be? Well, they did that last night, and then so they said today, guess what, guys? We're not doing any more short reports. We're only doing long reports. So, in other words, they're just scared to short because they're scared to
Yep.
be a part of a big short squeeze now. So, what I'm saying is, this literally could have changed the way hedge funds might not
Yeah.
be as quick to try to do what they did with GameStop no more. You know what I mean?
No, hell no. It was easy. I mean, it was easy money for a long time. I called it complacent. I think that's a fair word, in that the short position was put on, and it just needed to be remain on. And remember, the percentage of drawdown from $2 to zero is much different than $50 to 25, right? So it was in the hedge fund's best interest to keep the short on because they weren't being called on it, right? And then that's what happened. They got called on it, and the stock ended up going parabolic. And so the best I could calculate is over 10 billion plus that it's going to cost, and it's probably well north of that. I thought 10 billion was a pretty conservative amount that I shared with my group, but I mean, it was 3 billion in one day. That's what they went out and borrowed on an emergency basis, and that was evaporated. Imagine 3 billion just gone, evaporated in the matter of one day.
So Melvin Capital, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, not to get too granular on Melvin Capital was actually a fairly they were good. you know, what it exposed for me was the followership. And it's something that I talk about all the time on the channel, and in some capacities, you see it on your channel, Jason, right? You can speak until you're blue in the face. Hey man, listen, I do my diligence when I'm not sitting in front of you guys. I do my work behind the scenes. Hell, I'm a stock dork. Saturday morning, I get up with some coffee and I look at stocks, man. That's just what I do as a hobby. I'm into it. Everybody in this gallery that comes in and is part of a live stream on Friday, they're all part of something special. But I think for me, it really did shine the light on, look, if you couldn't get into Melvin Capital and you just went ahead and went down the street and started your own hedge fund or joined an existing hedge fund, the copycat mentality, because you question why all these other hedge funds were in the same damn trade, you know,
Right.
and they all got ripped. They all got ripped.
Right. Well, I mean, what I'm saying, I think early on there, like Melvin Capital, basically they had to be another firm had to come in and bring in more liquidity, had to give them more capital to keep them from going under.
I think it was multiple, Jay.
Multiple. Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So what it's yeah. I mean, it's the power of the internet, the power of power of just people, social
But
media.
yeah, but we've been saying that for a while now, and I don't want to make this about like me and you and the initiatives, but kind of it is. I mean, I kind of felt a little bit vindicated, and I wasn't even part of it. I didn't own any of these stocks this week, but I was kind of like, hell yeah, hell yeah. That's
Right.
what I've been freaking saying, man. Like
Yeah.
I'm advocating, man. My brother's an electrician. Okay, I love the plumbers. I love the freaking truck drivers, man. I love the people out there that are working hard. Software developers. All right, I'll throw them in there too. The people who are trying to earn a good, honest living would probably just as soon take the guaranteed 8 to 10% rate of return. Hell, you give me that for the rest of my life. I'm good. I'm out. I'm playing. I'm good. Thank you. But we just want to have some confidence to know that we can play the financial markets and maybe end up in a better place than we're in now. That's all, you know. And I think we've been talking about that for a long, long time. I just think that there's more power at people's fingertips than people really understand. And you don't have to be joining the Wall Street bets to participate in that. You can determine the degree of your participation. you know I mean, that's a pretty advanced level stuff you're talking about, Jason. Having the ability, but your fitness to pull off a stock trade like that is very good, right? Whereas there's a ton of people out there that are being brought to the financial markets for the very first time this week because of this. And I fear that like people are going to see, okay, people are buying mansions down in Miami, Florida, because of their Reddit or excuse me, their the GameStop profits, and it's like they think that that's somehow commonplace, and I'm here to tell you it's not. I don't mean to be a wet towel, but I think you really need to take a step back and understand how unique this situation really was.
Right. Right.
I just
So
got it. You got it.
what's been going on with you? How's everything, man? We I know we met last week. I was on last week, but we didn't really chop it up on a personal level. Uh,
Things are
so
good. I think I had too much microbrew over the holiday. I did come down. I meant to come see actually, but it was over New Year's, and we went down and saw the family for in their new house. They live south of Charleston, which is not to disclose too much specifics there, Jay, over an online social media community, but
right.
well, we're all friends. The next time I'm down there, I am going to stop by and we are going to have some barbecue because I had some of the best freaking barbecue. It was called the Barbecue Pit, I believe. Dude, this place was legit. Dude, I got a brisket plate with like this thick a brisket on it that was out of this freaking world. But yeah,
Nice.
drink too much microbrew. Now I'm paying for it. Now I'm in the gym every day trying to lose that extra 10 pounds I gained over the holiday. But other than that, work is, I'm doing my thing. And I think when people come on to the channel, I think it's just to touch base and a little bit of a break from that normal routine, working hard, grinding every day and doing that thing. To focus on something that I feel like is pretty important. Like when I walk away from the live stream, I'll go back to my normal routine, make Hitch a little more Mandalorian. I'm back on Mandalorian again. Um, so I get on these series, man. I did finish throughout the entire holiday break from Thanksgiving until Christmas. We binge watched The Walking Dead. So, and I know,
Uh,
listen, I know I'm 10 years behind schedule. I get it, but I'm old school. But how about you, man? What's cracking? What's new?
um, Man, just crazy busy. With work and juggling
Yeah.
everything, juggling all this. So it's
Hey,
and I'm in the process of building a house, a little bit further up
yeah.
where I live, but not it's still same area kind of. Um,
Sure,
but
sure.
so we every weekend we ride up and we check on the progress of the house, and it's gonna be nice because I've been renting for a couple years. So
I know. Me too. Me too.
yeah,
That man, the pride of ownership when you can stretch out, when you can do a barbecue on your own back in your own backyard, when you can mow your own grass. I don't know, man. It's the little things for me.
well, a lot of people. I mean, it's always been, but most people don't know because this looks like something here. This is the corner of my bedroom.
It's a mirage.
If I turn the camera that way, you see my bed. So at this new house, I got a dedicated office that I'm gonna turn into a studio. It's gonna be pretty. I'm going to the next level at this when we get to this new house. So, and I think I'm actually even going to even like bring in someone to help me with my audio. I've always had issues with my audio, so I'm gonna pay somebody to help me
Yeah,
work on my audio. So, so
good.
what I'm yeah, so that's where I'm sort of but anyway, I just actually interviewed Lightning eMotors CEO today. I was hoping to premiere it tonight, but it's a very good interview too. And if you're not if you're unaware about this one, it's watch this interview because it's more. This one had me taken back to like the Thomas Healy interview. So I don't mean to be like promoting my own stuff, but this
No,
this guy I learned a little more than I actually knew about this company, and it does really kind of give me highly on vibes. Not I don't know, everyone when you say that now there's a negative connotation about Hyliion, but I'm talking
mhm.
about the actual future of the company. Just like
Yeah.
Hyliion, this one has a tremendous future, and based right out of Colorado. So yeah, so that one. So I'll probably wind up premiering it tomorrow because they had to review it and they had me edit out something he said. So I
Yeah.
had, so I wasn't able to premiere it tonight. But no, man, that's I've been. It's funny now to the place where these CEOs are reaching out to me. Like this one actually reached out to me. I didn't reach out to them. So um,
Nice.
it's been fun just being a part of that whole. Uh, Sort of my channel has become part of that.
Yeah.
That's an essential part of my channel. The CEO interviews.
Oh, heck yeah. And I love them. I think they're great. I I got a ton of value out of the ones that you put through already. And I know it's just think about that for a second, man. We're just kind of like, you know, okay sized, I guess, YouTube channels. I don't want to
Right,
say, it's okay, but look at that, man. To bring on a CEO of some of these companies is like, yeah, that's making waves. Just along kind of the theme tonight about, you're like, well, I don't want to promote my own stuff. I promote away, man. It's not about that. It's about an audience of people coming on and getting good quality content. And if you can put those things together, man, I'm all about it. I think it's great. Yeah, I'll be there for sure. Appreciate that. Man, that's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. It
All
was
right.
it was it was good. It's really good. He's um, like I said. That's what I've learned of because y'all see these guys. They go on CNBC or they go on like Cheddar and they and they get it's your typical institutional investors trying to get them to trip up or say something, or
Yeah.
it's never like they're just having a conversation with them. And I wind up getting in these CEO interviews, and I get them to kind of relax, and then
Yeah.
like that's why I said like today he in this one he kind of slipped some information he wasn't supposed to, so I had to edit it out.
That's all right. That's all right.
So you never
I don't
know. You
know.
never know.
I just think the landscape has changed to where, no offense. I won't say you're a regular person, Jason, but I'm a regular person, and you
I'm
strike
already.
me as a regular person to be able to garner those interviews and just rap with these guys, and maybe you get some value out of it, maybe you don't, man, but that's not the point. The point is to connect the dots, right? And provide those opportunities where, like, if I thought about doing this 10 years ago, I thought you'd be you crazy. Are you kidding me?
Right.
But you said they're searching you out. They're not searching me out. What's going on? Ah, pretty good interviewer, I think. I think I could have some fun with it. I thought I always ask myself what I would ask Thomas Healy if he came on. I have a pretty good Q&A session if he came on. And I'm a pretty large shareholder, actually, at least for my small, what I'm set up to do. I mean, that could be a sizable position if it ever materializes. And it will. It
It
will.
will.
There won't be a surprise. I mean, it's
But
just
you've got some guys have reached out to you, right? I mean, you got a little stream of some interviews that have happened,
I
right?
don't there's been some interesting niches in the network, but it's really along the promo. And
Yeah.
it's not really one of my favorite things to do. And
Man,
here's why. I like meeting the CEOs. Don't get me wrong. I don't care who it is. I don't care if you're a mining company. I don't care if you're a plant-based food company. That piece of it I really enjoy. It's the misconstruence of the message that I don't enjoy. People come on and they're like, "Man, you're pump and dump," right? And it's not really like that, man. If you don't like the content, you don't have to watch it. But to
right.
understand that, the compensation is lucrative, okay, and not to make our decisions based solely on that. But I think what I'm trying to protect the viewer from is tuning into this and thinking that I'm somehow endorsing the product and then jumping out there and falling all over themselves to go invest in this stuff.
Well, you know what though?
You
To
know?
your point, here's to your point. So what I've noticed is you to get to either really capitalize on YouTube, you either have to be like the and I'm getting sick of it. And I made a thumbnail and I was going to make a video, but I hadn't made it yet. And but it's the 10x to 100x thumbnails are getting stupid, right? I mean, and
Yeah,
like that's really only the only channels that are blowing up are the channels that are talking about 10x stocks and 50x stocks, and they're getting 50,000 views and 100,000 views, and so it's either you sell out that way, or
you said you said sellout.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
what they're doing. Or
yeah,
you take a very calculated step with some of these sponsors that are reaching out, and you do sponsored content. Maybe you
yeah,
call it selling out too. Okay, whatever. But I know I actually the last one I did, I turned off comments and I turned off likes and dislikes. Didn't even care. I just
nice.
made the money. I made the money, and I paid off some more debt. And if you don't like that, then
Yeah,
whatever. If
yeah,
you were me, Orion, and someone came to you and said, "Listen, I got some work for you to do. It'll take you about 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours, and at the end of this
yeah,
job, I'm gonna pay you pretty decent money, like really decent money. You know what I mean? All you got to
uh-huh,
do is do your job well.
yeah,
That's what people are approaching us with these sponsored videos. It's a legal thing, and we do them, and then it's
yeah.
like I don't know if I'm rubbing people wrong or something on this one here, but it's just what I
No, I
see.
think you're right on the money, man. And I want people to grow with me as the channel. I'll grow as fast or slow as I want on the independent investor channel. I don't care. Um, but I want people to get to know me. I want people to understand where I'm coming from. Like, I'm not trying to be an asshole here. I'm not trying to just be like, yeah, I'm just going to do that to make the money. That's not it, man. Here's the thing, man. Like, you've got to be look at it objectively. Look at all the material I've put forward through YouTube for not a lot of compensation, I might add. Okay, if people think that I'm getting rich, they're sorely mistaken. Okay. This is and always will be a side hustle for me, at least maybe till I retire. I don't know. I'd like to build that soundproof studio like you're talking about, Jason, go big when I settle down. But this is a side gig for me, and it feels right now because it allows me that creative conduit to give my voice to people who I think appreciate it. And I think there's a lot of people out there, man, that real sees real. Right, Junior? Make sure he's paying attention. He's in the gallery. Real sees real, man. And I think people kind of can relate with our message. And if we do a side project like that, I expect a little latitude. Maybe that's expecting too much.
Right,
Maybe.
exactly.
But
Um, do you see any questions come across that we should take up? Is there anything going on?
I'm throwing them on the board here. Basically, just in the same old community. We got a hell of a crowd in here tonight for sure. And I just thought I didn't script anything tonight. I usually have a few keywords to key off of. Not tonight. I didn't because I felt like that there was plenty to talk about from this week. It's amazing some of the kickback I got from the channel from coming out with the Bill Ackman, when he came on in March and said what he said. I perceive that to be an attempt to affect markets. I did, and it seemingly was okay. CNBC defended him up and down, like he's a good guy, he's this, that, and everything else. Well, the action spoke to where he might be a good guy, he might be a family guy, hell, I don't know, but the actions were such that he said one thing on TV and then and did something completely different behind the
What you talking
scene.
about? You talking about Bill Ackman?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So I just think when the tables are turned a little bit, I've been kind of on the sideline this week, and I've been kind of a cheerleader. What can I say? And because in some small capacity, I from the very beginning have really been kind of a proponent for self-directed investing, right? Cutting out that middleman and taking that power back, using that opportunity not to give away the farm, man. Learn a little bit of fundamental investing. If that's all you did for your entire life, and that's one thing about the interview that I thought was interesting is that Chamath was like, well, what are retail investors supposed to do? Just invest in index funds and ETFs. And I almost fell out of my chair and I was like, look, man, the financial institutions for decades have had a swim lane, and they've ran through people through the swim lane of getting them into mutual funds, being provided a kickback for getting them into mutual funds, and keeping people conveniently naive on their portfolios. And that right there was the niche that I kind of wanted to fight and stick it to the man. Now, have we done that over the course of the channel? Probably not. Probably not. But I get to sleep easy knowing that, hey, I I saw this in the marketplace as being a real downfall. People entering into retirement and only having, you know, 150,000 where their potential could have been 750,000, and they think that somehow that's a success in wealth building because they haven't established the right type of acknowledgement to wealth preservation over the course of their life. And I think the more we can get to younger investors and understanding that it's not necessarily about the GameStops of the world, it's more of getting into that fundamental base. If you want to elevate your game, great, but it's going to require you to elevate your game. Okay, I don't. You would agree with me, Jason. We don't want people coming on to the live stream and being like, man, Jason got into, this, and he made, X number of dollars. There's a story behind it. Okay. There is a risk tolerance behind it. There is a discipline and an opportunistic requirement that's there to enter into and execute the right discipline to come out of that trade in the black. Would you
Exactly.
agree with that?
Right, and a little bit of luck because I held over. I
Yeah.
held over. I actually held overnight on the AMC trade, which that could have really went south.
Ooh.
So
Oh yeah.
could have,
Yeah.
but I think I felt like the momentum was just starting at that point. That was the
You're
first
right.
day of it. So, but like it certainly could have went south very easily. And otherwise, I was right. I had one monitor up doing a little bit of work, and one monitor up watching it the whole time. If you don't do that, then don't think you can do that.
Yeah, see,
So
people don't properly acknowledge that work behind the scene, and if you're not willing to acknowledge that, that's okay. Just all I ask is that you're honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself and your own capability, because you can have it all. You can have the capability, the wherewithal, the funding, the discipline, the everything else, and it can still go south on you. Okay. Disciplined investors understand that. I think for the most part, a beginning investor, me included, when I was beginning, did not understand that. All right. To be fair, I'm not saying you're stupid. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that give yourself a fighting chance. We don't want to see you run off of the market because you think that this is what defines the stock market. It's not. There's there's plenty of opportunity, man. I love owning Apple stock, okay? I love owning Microsoft. There's just something about it that makes me feel like I'm going to give my kids a legacy someday. I get off on it. I love Johnson and Johnson. It's just something about being an investor that is aligned with my action and my tolerance and my personal strategy, and it works for me, you know.
Caleb
But
Caleb says hi.
Caleb says hi. That's my nephew, man. Shout out to Caleb, man. Fantastic. He's
I
a,
saw
he's a, he's an
I saw the last
he's an
name, so I figured they wanted to.
Where's
They
he at?
wanted
I gotta find him. I gotta highlight the comment, man. See, I'm driving the ship, Jay. If you were driving the ship, you could highlight it for me. Let me cruise down here toward the bottom. He usually dumps on me, man. We got a pretty. This is the. I don't know if this is the JMac effect. Is this what it feels like to be part of JMac investing?
to.
You on the iMac right now? You know that
It's what it feels. It's what it feels like in my Discord. It's like that, but not the regular. Not the channel. The Discord is all day long. So
I still remember that night. It was kind of shortly after maybe the interview, I think. And there was people coming in. I was like, that was cool, man.
when we have
You were
a
like a kid in the candy store, man.
that was when the party was really jumping. Then yeah, and I tell you because you saw at the end that live stream, I was like overwhelmed, floored. I didn't know what I didn't
You
know how to
were.
handle it, you know. It was
You
something
were.
to be
You
for sure.
I don't know. You're a friend of mine. I sat back. I kind of felt like I was working at the beginning because I was trying to radically share it on social media, and that's what I did. But when I came back and I was watching it, I was like, "Man, this is pretty awesome." And I don't know. There's something to be said there about, we need to kind of stick together. I think you alluded to it at the top of the stream with your. I think I saw Matt Money talk about diamond hands a little bit, and by the way, plug the boys will coming up. I'm sure that they're probably going to rattle it. I'm this will be one that I'm going to be on as well. But I'm kind of interested to see it. What this is the J Mac and the Ryan twist on this whole week. It'd be interesting. Kyle, you better start your freaking engine, man. I want a show out of you. And Matt always delivers a fantastic perspective. I call those guys yin and yang, man, because it's a pretty cool dynamic to listen to them rap. But there it is. The daisy chain is there for those guys for sure. But I don't know. What were we talking about, Jason? I forgot. I'm sorry. I'm old.
Oh,
I
I don't know.
forget.
I think I got you off.
Yeah, you did. You did. You FOMO'd me, man. You FOMO'd me. You got me wanting to go buy GameStop next week. I don't know.
Buy one share of it, but
My-
trade your way into it or something like that.
yeah, I got. Hey, man, listen. IPOE did well today. It was like my bright spot in the portfolio, man. Up
You know,
24 damn percent.
did you see some of the behind the scenes what happened there? So,
No, I
um,
did not.
so SoFi CEO, he's been active on Twitter, and he said,
Noto.
yeah, no, I can't remember his name, but he was like, guys, you can buy game on SoFi.
I saw that. Yeah.
So the Wall Street Bets was like, yo, there's our guy. So, yeah,
I thought it was more like they saw the Chamath interview and they were like, okay, they knew that this guy, and it's the one SPAC. There's three others, I believe, on there that are still searching. But
yeah.
this one's actually have the definitive agreement. That's why I
SoFi,
introduced it.
someone asked earlier up in the chat, they asked me what the top
Yeah.
three SPACs are.
Yep.
Now, SoFi is going to be a transformational company that is going to be
Yeah.
in the S&P 500. Give it 3-4 years, 5 years. Okay, so
That's
maybe a little longer, maybe a little longer.
yes. Sure.
But
I concur.
there's a company right there if you want to. No, listen, because this went so under the radar. I interviewed the dude who created SPACs this week too. Okay, it only got 1,000 views because I called it the history of SPACs. Very boring name, but I interviewed this dude, and I
Yeah.
said, "Did you ever think a company like SoFi would come via a SPAC?" And he's like, "No way, no way."
No way.
But if
No.
you go back on my channel, you should watch it. I was sitting there like a kid, just learning from this guy. So
For real. For real.
he created the SPAC. Well, the SPAC structure. One of the originators of it. But so yes, man, SoFi is right up there. Obviously, I mean there are some really fabulous companies right now coming via SPAC. Proterra, Arrival, EV
So,
Box, Lion Electric,
yep.
Genius Sports, ChargePoint,
Yep.
EVgo. There's about 8 or 10 companies right now that are
Yep.
going to wind up being 20x companies, 10, 20x. Oh, there's your thumbnail, and there's your highlight. That's what y'all come for, right? In the chat, you want to hear about the 10 and 20x companies. There you go.
Exactly. Put that in your pipe. Smoke it. God, man.
There you go.
But,
All those companies,
no.
all those are. I can't even narrow the SPACs down to the top five right now because there's so many good ones right now.
Yeah, there is, man. It's pretty exciting times. It really is. It's fun to watch. They're on pace here in 2021, Jason, for outpacing 2020, right? There's always, last I
Yeah.
checked, there's already 47 on the ledger for this
Yeah.
year. I think last year had around 300. I think you would be more in tune with the numbers, but last year was the banner year, right? But they're actually looking at this year. And I don't know if it was you that had mentioned last week that you thought that maybe the bar would be raised a little bit with regard to the quality of the companies that are making their way through the SPAC process. So is that what you're seeing?
Well,
Um,
yeah, yeah, it was with these three that Lion Electric, Proterra, ChargePoint, and SoFi, and Genius Sports. They're all not pre-revenue. They're companies making hundreds of millions of dollars right now, and projected revenue growth of insane. The insane thing is these companies, if all goes well, and they do hit their, he only trades at 25. You better sell Pfizer then. Uh,
oh, damn! I felt that, bro.
my bad, my bad.
No, it was good. Well
But
timed. Well played.
so those are all like 50% plus compound annual growth rate type companies. Now, those kind of companies, if they're like cloud companies, think about the multiple on those. These are coming through SPACs. They're going to take a little time to settle on the markets, and there's going to be usually a little sell off in the beginning. So I'm just saying, keep your eyes on them because these are like
Yeah,
real serious growth companies.
no doubt. Yeah, no doubt. Hey, man, I tell you what, that if I could ever repay you for the value that you're providing, at least to me specifically, I would, Jason. But don't focus on that other stuff. Focus on that quality content. I mean, you're winning those interviews. Just continue to put that quality content out there. That's really difficult to do. As you start to evolve in this progress, hopefully you get to catch those bridges of other projects as it evolves, and it will. My brother said YouTube was like a business opportunity with unlimited upside potential. You know, you don't have to get crazy about the ceiling not moving fast enough. It'll eventually move there if you're diligent about it, and more importantly, that you enjoy doing it. I
And
think there's a lot of. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, and if you're consistent about it, you can always reset, right? Or you can recalibrate if you're all getting off track, or you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
yes, you're right. It's just the internet in general provides all kind of opportunities. So very thankful. But look, I know you got about 3 minutes left. I know you like to close it out. You
I
need.
got about. Go ahead.
I was just going to drop if you were going to close.
Yeah, but not before I thank you for your time. You've got to be busy. You're obviously riding a wave here on YouTube, and I don't want to press you. I just want to say keep up the good work. You're killing it. Oh, it means a lot to a lot of people, man. And people tell me that, and I think sometimes we don't say it enough because it does take a lot to provide this stuff. It does take a lot of behind the scenes, Jason. And so just from me, I'm a fan too, but appreciate you coming on as usual. You're going to be a mainstay on the live stream if you don't mind making that happen. Okay, I really enjoy this. I think it's a lot more dynamic for the group. So
Well, you see, I don't do too many. I haven't done a lot of collabs recently, and I'm
no,
always. But every time you ask, I'm
fun.
always definitely game because you're
Yeah,
definitely someone who's always been real and always been helpful and always
yeah,
been. I mean, you
100%.
you helped me hit 1,000 subscribers. People don't even won't know that, but you. I remember
I don't
coming in the chat and getting
I
shout
don't know
out.
that. Maybe it was the right thing to do. I don't know, and I don't remember stuff like that. I just at the time it was the right thing to do. That's all.
I was just a
Hey,
struggling, trying to not say on and off too many times, and
uh,
you were still giving me
yeah,
shout out. So I appreciate you too.
100%, man, 100%. All the best to you and the family, Jay. Have a great weekend. All right, man.
See you guys.
All right, my brother. Later. Very cool. A few seconds left anyway. If the family's still watching from Oregon, I will give my shout out to my family. Fantastic, everybody. Katie, Jared, Caleb, fantastic. Mom, dad, awesome. There's your shout out for you guys. That's where I come from. Yep, those are my roots, and I hope that's transparent on the channel for sure. Especially want to thank you guys for joining. You guys can daisy chain over to the next live stream if you'd like. I'm actually going to stay behind in the gallery for a few minutes actually and speak to one of my good friends in here who's with me. We're just going to talk a little bit, a few minutes anyway. If there's somebody there that's wanting to come on and talk to me a little bit one-on-one, not as part of the live stream, you're welcome to do that. I will drop the last invite in there, so just stick around. I provide that at the end of most of my live streams. I think it's cool. We're breaking down barriers, guys. That's the whole idea. And that's the whole idea for you personally. If you've got barriers in your life, hopefully we helped identify those for you and get you working on your PB, your personal best. Guys, take it easy. We'll see you next Friday. Take it easy.